There we go. Now I can see. Okay, that was weird. Okay, let me just delete the other one, and then we can get to drawing. Alright. Nose down a bit more. Just a bit. Yeah, gourds show up pretty often in different media and all that. Like Gaara's gourd from Naruto. I know there's others. There's Jamie's like alcohol gourd from Street Fighter. But yeah, it's a common thing. At least to me, I don't know. Originally, I was gonna make it like a doll with a face on it, and I was like, nah, it doesn't really fit what I was going for. So I'll probably save that idea for another time. Where there's already a god of dolls or whatever the hell I was going to give title I was going to give him. Let me bring him up real quick. Where are you? Should be coming up in a moment. No, no, no. Nope, that's not you. I passed him. Where is he? Oh, there he is. So yeah, this is another god that will appear at some point. Basically, if he wants to like mess with you, he'll just put your soul into a doll and then give or take whatever abilities or benefits at his leisure, so just don't piss him off. But it's all for his entertainment. He does not care about the souls that he embeds in the dolls. So yeah, that would be something to look forward to. I should probably turn that off. Nothing major is going on, but remove the dialogue anyway. Not like it's anything critical, but just doing it anyway. Oh, they already have a name. And no, it's not based on any of that. Let me see. I'm horrible with names, so what name did I give him? I mean, I can always change it since he's not officially out yet, but I have named him Alistair Villalobos. But yeah, like Marionette and Puppeteer is just too basic. It's like it's too easy of a go-to, if that makes sense. Like it's almost expected. So I just gave him like a lot of these characters I just kind of give random names or whatever name that fits their theme. Or just whatever I think sounds cool. And then go with that. But I also try to like mix it up depending on where they're from. So like for example, a lot of the IHAT characters have pretty basic names, like common like names that you would probably hear normally. World Gates characters have like just outlandish names because a lot of them I made up back in the day, so I just decided to keep that up. Creamfield, they're all based on fruit or vegetables in certain cases, and one of them's based on meat, so whatever. But yeah, they're based on food names. Black Circus falls into IHAT territory, so the names are in the same ruling. And then Buckle is a bit of in between like World Gates and IHAT, so kind of both scenarios. So yeah, I just try to make it as interesting as possible, or like stay within whatever criteria I've made for them. Music sounds like something I would hear in a Rugrats game. That's cool. Yeah, there are plenty of characters in like DC and Marvel comics that are cybernetic engineers and stuff like that that are not villains, and they just sell to whoever. So yeah, nothing wrong with that. No, they're just markings, likely tied to her magic, but that'll be up to future stories involving her. She is a wolf. Actually, let me make sure, because I keep calling her a wolf, but I could be wrong. So let me just make sure. I mean, it really doesn't matter what she is, since their species are rarely tied into what they do. Hold on, it's gonna take a moment. Let's see. According to this, it does not say what her species is. So I'm just gonna go with the wolf. Although Jackal would make sense, but she has a big ass fluffy tail. I mean, I could just say she's both a jackal and a wolf. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with both. Fuck it. Again, it really doesn't matter what she is. But yeah, I'll just go with both. Because, let me bring up what she looks like in color. Because I've shown her before. So yeah, this is what she looks like. So, she could be both. She could also be a fox. She could be a combination of things, honestly. But ultimately, her species, it doesn't matter. Because, she's got her own thing going on. Yeah. Like, I'm sure a few of my characters have had characteristics like that. Because most of the time I don't think about that kind of stuff, I just draw whatever I think is cool. Sometimes I pay attention to their species, but most of the time it's just random or whatever I haven't drawn. Or some, like, different creature design, like unique species or something. And there's still like plenty of animals I haven't really delving into yet, like seals. Or did I do a squid? I don't think I've done squids yet. But yeah, there's plenty of animals to go draw. So eventually I'll dive more into outside of the box designs. I mean, I did with World Gates, but it's been a while since I've made more of those. I think like one of the last ones I've done with that kind of take was like Yorjanov or something, or someone similar. Maybe if I have time for it. Because usually during Halloween I'm like out and about costume stuff, but if I do it early enough, then sure. Or if I'm not too busy around that time, then yeah. I don't know. I mean, Krampus would be its own character at that point. Assuming I'd even use it. Alright, take care. Have a good day. That's a little smaller than that. Hello, hello. Yes, they're all over their planet. In different regions and stuff. Heavily depends on if I'm even doing any of that. But I just do whatever comes to mind. I don't lock it into a specific time of year. But if that's what you want to do, go for it. Like, I'm not gonna tell you not to. And then a lot of the tribal stuff I usually tie into, like, artifacts and certain civilization culture themes and stuff like that, along with the risque stuff. Like, you know, the typical stuff that would go on with, like, tribal stuff. And if there's, like, any actual narrative, then it just depends on the situation. I've drawn her a few times, especially if you've been on my Patreon and all that, or seen the art sets that have been released. She's been drawn quite a number of times. Like, it wasn't even that long ago since I drew her again. But if you mean for a stream, yeah, I'll probably draw her again at some point. I don't see myself not doing that. Just a matter of when. Oh, Meadow? I assume you're talking about her? Yeah, I need to draw her again sometime. I'll try to do more with World Gates pretty soon this year. Again, it's just a matter of when. But I'm gonna try to be more active about it. And she was never the Grim Reaper. That was just more of a nickname or a code name. Like, she was called Death, but that was just more of like just a name. It wasn't like she was the actual Death. But she will get a different name just so there's no confusion over that. Yep, doing alright. Hope you're doing well as well. Doing good as well. There we go. I'm probably gonna still use her original hair. But who knows, I might change it. Depends on how I feel when I get around to her. Draw her ear first. No, she's not a mercenary. I mean, she could be if she wants some income, but that's not her job or her role. First. No, she's not a random predator character. No, she's still part of the same group that she was before. It's just going to be revised to better fit with how both their story and other parts of their universe is established. And like whatever characters are no longer usable will be removed and replaced and blah blah blah. Or just didn't fit. She made it out of water, or the blood and water. But all that's gonna get retconned, because I'm gonna go a different route with Buckle. Like I'll probably post the original just for the fun of it, but it's gonna get a overhaul. Hello, hello. Hold on, I don't speak Spanish, so let me find out what that says. Thank you, glad you like them. People are always going to trip out whether or not there's weight gain or weight loss or whatever. Can't appeal to everybody. And it's honestly not about what everybody else wants, it's about what I want to do, so they are either here for the ride or they can go elsewhere. Completely up to them. And I said from the start that there was going to be weight loss in this comic, so I don't know why they're freaking out now. Yeah, Sonic CD has great music. I just listen to both versions. I know, exactly. But yeah, it's just that kind of mentality is why a lot of stuff like this gets very heavily limited. Because if you only want, because there's only two ways, or there's only a few ways this can go. Either I make a character fat and they stay fat forever, and to the point of immobility, and they're just sitting around eating and that's it. Like, that's the extent of the idea, because there's nothing more I can do with them unless I'm gonna try to get comedic and have them use like handicap scooters, or you know, a crane or whatever BS that I would have them use in order to move around somewhere. They are bigger than the building that they're in, or you know, take up the entirety of the room, or become so big that they burst out of the building, become bigger than a city, bigger than a planet, bigger than a galaxy, blah blah blah, all that boring shit. Because once you reach a certain threshold, it just gets incredibly boring, and I just lose complete interest. Like, I've seen artwork of like characters getting so fat that they just devour the universe, and I'm just like, this is boring. Like, there's nothing interesting about this. Like, sure, it could be funny in the moment, but then it's like, okay, if you were to try to make this character serious or take this character seriously, what do you do after that point? And there's nothing to do. They're just there. And then it's like, we could have the whole scenario of, okay, this character gets fat at the end, and then the next time I use that character, they're skinny again, and then they're just gonna get fat again, and then the end, and then do that on repeat forever. Because it just becomes a comedy at that point. And then yeah, like, that's kind of it, really. It's like, unless I give the characters some ability to actually go somewhere or do something else or show other interests and things, it's like, there's no point. Like I plan to use these characters for more than one thing. Like, I'm not just gonna, like Marcy, for example. I didn't just make her fat and then in the end it's like, no, now she's married, she has kids. Sure, she slimmed down a bit so she could actually, you know, move around and shit like that, but obviously you would want her to do that so she could get into more scenarios. It's like, do you want the characters to do less or more? And then again, not every character I make is gonna fall into weight gain territory, so there could be weight loss, they could be turned into robots, turned into dolls, zombies, vampires, whatever. Like, and none of this is like hidden. Like, I've been doing this for years and showing it on and off on DeviantArt and Infinity and all that, so it's not like any of my interests have been hidden. And I've also voiced this exact thing multiple times, so I don't know if they're just pretending I didn't say it, or they're just purposely getting upset for the sake of getting upset, because I know one person in particular has done this multiple times. So if that's the person you're thinking of, or you're talking about, then yes, I've seen their reaction multiple times. You don't have to say their name or anything like that, but I am fully aware. But yeah, it's just like, okay, we know you don't like weight loss. That's, I mean, cool. You've said it like 20 times now. And even if it's not that person, like, I know other people get that way too, but it's like, damn, I don't know what you want from me. It's like, well, no, I do know what you want from me. It's just, we don't align on that mentality, because I would like to actually have fun. Or have an active universe, so that way I can have my characters do more things. And sure, I can make a character that is strictly for the purpose of getting fat forever and not being able to do anything. I can make that character, and I'm sure I can make it interesting. But once I get to like the peak of that character, like, let's just say the ending for that character would be he's as fat as the room, and that's it. There's nothing much else I can do with that character unless I, you know, go completely crazy by making them bigger than the city or whatever. But at that point, that just falls into like non-canon territory, because obviously that would impact everybody else in the series. So obviously that couldn't be canon. That would just be nonsensical BS. And again, I can do that. It would probably be a one-time thing, because there's nothing else you can really do with it. But yeah, like, I'm almost considering just doing something like that. Just make a short comic about that, just to get it out of the way, so that way I never have to think about it again. Because that will be the peak of any idea of that nature. Because it'll be a clear example of, this is literally the extent of you can go with it, and there is nothing else interesting about it. Like, I will go that far to make it, just so it is no longer touchable. So I will make a completely new character strictly for that reason and purpose. Hello, hello. Whatever character I make is whatever character I make, answering the whole Mojo Spiderlegs things. Like, whatever I feel they should have is what I'll give them. Yeah, like, Yorjadov is literally the point of she can be the size of a galaxy and devour planets, and that's kind of her thing. Because originally she was there to do that kind of stuff, but then she got in trouble for swallowing one of the other gods, and it took them like a year or so, or however long, to get them out. And then she stopped doing that just to avoid that scenario. Like, that's literally her like whole shtick as being the weight gain god, basically. But if we're gonna like make a non-canon story of like another basic bitch character who just decides to become fatter than the galaxy, I can do that, but then that's the end of that idea. Like, there's nothing more I can do with that. Yorjadov luckily doesn't fall into that because she has other uses that make sense since she's a god. But for like a normie character or whatever that does that, that's it. Like, once it happens, it's over. And there would be zero reason for any other character to do that because it would just be copy and paste. Like, unless I come up with like a completely new idea with the same theme, but just make it interesting or something, sure, maybe. Like, that's a big maybe. Like, oh, instead of one character, there's two. Like, they have some weird ass competition or something. But even then, we're just gonna get to the same pointless end where, okay, well, that happened. Nothing more can happen because it can't be canon. Like, there's no possible way to make that usable unless I go super out of the box where it's like, oh, they became so fat they became like celestial tier and now they're just exist all around. It's like, oh, see the night sky, that's actually their body fat or some bullshit. Like, I can make that up, but again, there's no point. And of course we have Yorjadov, who can completely take over that category strictly since she already exists and she's already established as that type of character, and she makes sense since she's a god. But any normie character, it cannot work that way unless I just completely disregard the story and universe or make it non-canon. Like, again, I don't mind having fun, but I don't like doing something that I feel would be pointless. Like, even if I'm doing like alternate universe stories, at least those feel like they are alternate routes of a story that I can actually continue if I felt like it. Like with Fat Blake and Mini Marcy and all that, or even Evil Marcy. Like, those are routes that I could expand on. Like, they don't have to like end where I ended them. If I feel like it, I can continue it. But if I do something like that with or like the whole bigger than the universe thing, it's like, what do you do after that? It's like, okay, they're bigger than the universe, what now? Like, where would we realistically go with an idea like that? And again, like, I don't hate the idea, I just don't want that to be a pointless push for any character that gets fat or gains weight or inflation or whatever. Like, it shouldn't be the go-to idea just because those characters are in that theme. Or that a character should stay fat forever just because. And again, it falls into the same problem that that people wanted with Tiffany when she got fat in the original Chapter 5. And granted, killing her off was probably not the best idea either, but but it was falling into the whole, like, okay, Skylar's a serial killer, why the hell would he let her escape? And people wanted her to, like, just be humiliated and escaping and be fat forever and blah blah blah. And I'm like, sure, if he wasn't a killer and this wasn't like a hidden murderer type of story. If it was just like pure comedy and like, okay, this isn't really gonna go anywhere, we'll just, you know, have a laugh and all that, sure, I could have did that. But that's just not the route that I was going. So yeah. Yeah, and that was the purpose of cream-filled characters back in the day. Like, I knew that a lot of people were into the whole weight gain stuff, and that's why they got made, so that way they could do that stuff on and off forever. At least until their major story kicks in. But after I made them, I quickly realized that that was like a bad decision. Like, I should not have made them for that purpose. Just to stick with the whole weight gain artwork stuff. Because I like drawing other things. I didn't want to be locked into that theme forever. And sure, I still draw it now, but that's because I'm having fun with it still, and I'm having a good time. I'm not like, I don't feel like I'm being forced to draw weight gain stuff. And that's because I draw other things too. So like with the collector set, you can see me doing other things. Like there's the whole character Venus with her arms and legs taken off. There's the laying eggs thing, the pregnancy thing. There's weight gain, of course. There's MILFs. There's a whole bunch of stuff. But if I only did that one theme, I would quickly burn out. Because there's so much other stuff I want to do, but if I only was doing that one thing just because that's the bread and butter, then I'm pretty sure I would have burned out and probably stopped making it a long time ago and worked on something else. Probably just shied away from it either. I don't know, probably continue the other comics that I have that I put on the side because IHAT became a thing. But that's one of the reasons why I want to get back into those, because there's other things I enjoy. So yeah, like, again, not 100% against the idea of making characters in mobile and all that, but I'm not going to do that for every goddamn character that gets fat. It just makes zero sense to do. It's boring, it's unoriginal, it's... All it does is just lock the characters. It's like, oh, well, this character got fat, we're not seeing them ever again unless they somehow make it outside of their house. Or break the house because they're too fat. Like, that doesn't sound interesting at all. And I know I'm going on like a huge tangent about it, but it's just like, I need people to understand why these things are the way they are, at least in my case, because I don't want the characters to get burned out. Like, I don't want them to become useless. And sure, there's probably a good chance that certain characters won't show up for a good chunk of time because, you know, focused on other characters that may or may not be in the same location. Maybe there's just a low chance of those characters interacting with the other characters. Like, obviously stuff like that will happen. But I don't want them to be prevented from being used strictly because their scenario just keeps them from appearing. And again, like, if a character got so fat that they just got stuck in their own house or apartment or whatever, what do they do after that other than just eating more and just sitting watching television or playing games or whatever it is they somehow managed to do? Like, all we're doing is limiting their options. But yes, like, if I have to make that comic just to get the point across, whether it be just a character stuck in their home or make a character so fat that they're the size of the galaxy, but then acknowledge that it's not canon because they can't do anything after that. And then also, you know, obviously it would affect all the other characters, so it can't be canon. There's just no logical way that it would be. Then I will do that just to make a point. And I'll also make a point that it'll be completely lackluster. Just be like, alright, here's the bare minimum. Here, this is what you want, here it is. Oh, no. I'm not taking it as being told what to do or anything. I'm just making a point that if you're getting mad that I'm making, not you specifically, I'm just saying, like, if people get mad that I make the choice of making characters bigger or smaller or change up some other aspect on them, like, oh, maybe they lost an arm and now they have a robot arm or whatever. If they get mad over that, all I can say is, sorry, this is what I wanted to happen. If you don't like it, then it's 100% fine. I'm not mad at you for not liking it, but you gotta understand this is what I want to do. If you want something else to happen, you can draw it yourself. That is literally the reason why IHAT is even a thing. Because I couldn't experience one comic, so I made my own. That is literally what I did. So if that is the same scenario for you or anybody else or whoever, do the same thing I did. It's like the saying goes, if you want something done right, do it yourself. Because only you can make what you want to happen. But yeah, no, I wasn't thinking of you specifically or anything like that, so no worries there. Time Lord tech base, like, you can make whatever story you want if it makes sense to you. Yeah, like I completely know what you're talking about. It's just, again, I feel like I would have to make that character who becomes so immobile that they just can't do anything and possibly need like assistance or whatever. I feel like I would have to make that comic or short story or whatever, short comic, just to get the point across. It's like, okay, this is what you guys want for the other characters, so let's see what happens to this character to find out where that would go. So, like, for example, if people just wanted Marcy to get fatter and fatter and fatter, I will make that point to show what would happen to her if that were to happen in the way that they're asking me. Because I want them to understand this is what I don't want to happen. Because then we're no longer able to use the character. And somehow I don't understand why people are not grasping this. It's like also trying to explain leaking comics or leaking artwork or pirating artwork, whatever. It's like, you can do that, but all you're doing is reducing sales or stuff for whoever you're leaking content from. And sure, on one end, it's also promoting their content to get people to look into their stuff more. That's one route you can think of it as. But you also have to be careful with how much content you leak, because if not that many people buy the content, all that's telling the creator is that the content isn't popular enough or selling enough to warrant making more, and then you lose that person making that content. And if more and more people stop making the stuff you like, then it's no longer going to be a thing unless you yourself make it yourself. And then you're probably going to have the same problem as they did, where you make it, you put it out there, and then too many people will leak it or pirate it or whatever, and then it's no longer available because you're not going to make more if all you're doing is going to lose revenue. And because, you know, people gotta make some money and put food on the table. That's just going to be a constant thing. But yeah, like, people gotta consider these things when they make these actions, because you gotta remember, if you do it too much, you ruin it. So yeah. Anyway, I should be good on my thought process on all that. Because bigger monkey brain in our Activision, yeah. Yeah. Like, don't worry about me. I'm always gonna do what I want to do, because after, this was like years ago, but like there was like a point where I'm just like, I'm just gonna do what I want to do. And it was probably after I made like the first one or two comics of Creamfield when I came to that conclusion. Because I was like, yeah, that was a mistake, and I don't want to make that mistake again. So I'm fine. I'm just trying to explain why I'm doing the things I'm doing. Yeah. Like I don't rant often, but when I do, I know I like go like a mile a minute type of thing because I just get passionate about the subject matter. And it just heavily depends on what we're talking about. But yeah, like again, I have no problem with the idea itself. I just want people to understand why I don't apply it to certain characters. Because I would like to use those characters for other things. But again, I'll probably have to make a character strictly for that purpose, just to get the idea across, just to show a clear example of here, and I might even do this twice. I might have one character that just gets as big as a room, and then one character that gets as big as a galaxy, just so there are two clear examples of why this doesn't apply to other characters, except for maybe Yorjadov because she's a god. So it's like, all right, I did it with these two characters. We will never see them again. And if people ask me why is that, it'll be because they can't do anything. Like aside from like random spin-off artwork of like collector sets or whatever, that'd be their only existence. It would just be like, well, here's this character again, sitting in the room eating chips because they can't do anything. So there you go. So yeah, they will have to be the martyr for this thought process because I don't think people get it somehow. And again, this is only if I'm making the character exist in a functional world. If this was like comedy, nothing matters type of universe, similar to like Dreamfield and all that, then sure, I could make them as big as a galaxy, and then the next comic they're back to normal or some bullshit. But if I'm trying to be realistic, then yes, that will have to be the example. Those examples of it doesn't work that way, because it can't work that way. There's no realistic scenario where you can just make a character do that, affect everybody, and then somehow it's okay. It's like it can't. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably gonna do that. I don't know when I'll do that, but I'll probably do it just to get the point across and be like, all right, here you go. This is 16 pages because there's nothing they're gonna do that's anything interesting. So I'm just gonna make them. They're just gonna like spend like the first 3 pages explaining why they're in this scenario, and then the rest is just gonna be them stuffing their face, getting huge, and then that's the end because there's nothing else to go, nowhere else to go on that. So yeah, if I do that, that would be the situation. Huh. Anyway, sorry for the big ass rant. I don't know. I feel like this is like common sense, but I gotta remember, common sense isn't so common. Yeah, I'd probably do 2 versions of the same character. I'll do one that only gets. I'll do one story where he just gets as fat as the room, and then the other story would be the same character, but he gets as fat as the galaxy, and then that's it. Because there's nowhere else for him to go. Or universe, whatever is functionally the biggest. And then be like, oh, I can't wait to see more of this character. I'm like, nope, that's it. And fuck it, I'll probably do the Galaxy one as like a paid thing. Just for the hell of it. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just ranting my thoughts right now. But yeah, I'll probably just make one character that does both those things. And then that's it. And the only way any other character is going to even remotely do something similar would be like a single pick art set or something, or like a collector set or art set or something. It'd be something that's just done for fun, no story attached or whatever. It would just be like, alright, there it is, and then it's over with. But in terms of a story, no. Like, we've seen it with the weight gain drives and all that. But not to that extent, and I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. You know what? Fuck it. Maybe that'll be the next weight gain drive. We'll just have a character do that. And that'll be the drive. And then make it as long as it needs to be. Or not even like, it doesn't even have to be a drive, it could just be another set to sell or something. I don't know. Whatever. I'll figure it out when the time comes. Yeah, I think I've heard of something similar. There's an anime where it has to do with like ninjas. And it's in like a society where the bigger your tits are, the more wealthier you are. And so there are like ninjas that learn the ability to steal women's breast size. And so like the main ninja girl has the ability to steal breast size, so her boobs just get ginormous when she fights her. I don't know if it's like her rival or just like another ninja, but like she steals her boob size and she just becomes ridiculously huge. And I'm just laughing. And I'm like, all right, gotta keep that in mind. Might use that similar idea in the future, whether it be for weight gain or for other tit size or something. It's like, you know what? Why not? Why the fuck not? You've never heard of it? Okay, let me see if I can find the name of it real quick. Ninjas. I know it'll come up. Is that what it's called? Menu scroll? Yeah, it's called Menu scroll. I'll put the name of it in the chat. Yeah, there you go. Damn, the manga lasted for a good 6 years. 7 volumes? That's not too bad. 12 episodes and 8 OVAs? Damn. I don't know if I have the OVAs. I know I have the anime. I'll have to check and see, and if I don't, then I'll grab those somewhere. From somewhere. The dangers of Googling. Well, you gotta put in that effort if you want to work out. You gotta take care of yourself so you can stick around. It's like we got the X-Men showing up in Avengers this year. You gotta be around for that. I don't know. But yeah, breast size stealing ninjas. I want that to sink in. I want that to sink in that that's an idea that exists and has existed since 2000 for 21 years. I want you to think about that. Yeah, do whatever you feel is right. But yeah, if you see like some random ass character and it's like a weight gain scenario thing, and he just keeps getting bigger or whatever, you'll know why. And then when we don't see that character anymore after that, you'll know why. You'd be like, oh god, is this character that Viro was bitching about for a good hour? You're like, I don't know what happened. You just started going crazy. You just started talking about all this shit. Yeah, Doomsday will be interesting. I'm very curious on how they're going to go about how they're going to portray Doctor Doom. Especially since it's Robert Downey Jr. playing the character. So I hope they capitalize on the whole looks like Tony Stark type of character. Because it's a matter of like, is it a version of Tony Stark or is it just strictly Victor Von Doom and he just happens to look like Tony Stark? So I'm very curious on how they go about this story. And then the X-Men are finally gonna get some goddamn true representation. Like, their movies have been on and off, but like Deadpool definitely helped out dramatically in putting the characters back where they should be. Or representing them in the way they should be. Yeah, it's probably gonna be a version of Tony, which would probably make the most sense. But we'll see. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'll be fine with either route. But it'll be interesting to see how they use that against the other characters. Especially Spider-Man, because I think Spider-Man is gonna take the biggest hit from that. Because of how much he respected Tony. So if that gets used against him, no, that's going to be even worse because he's not. No one's going to know who. No one's going to know who Spider-Man is, assuming Spider-Man comes back. No one's going to know who Spider-Man is, and Spider-Man's going to feel all sentimental about Tony, and that's probably going to get used against him, and he's probably going to get like incredibly injured. Now that I think about it. Because that's exactly what would happen. Or he might, or even worse, he might use it against him and try to make Spider-Man come to his side for whatever reason. And if they do that, if they make it so that Doctor Doom gets Spider-Man to work with him, then that would be a good excuse to give Spidey a new outfit and make it be based off of Superior Spider-Man. Do that one. That'd be sick. Because it can't be Dr. Octopus anymore because Peter had already, or at least not like an alternate version, but like with the other one from the Sony universe, he had already resolved that with that version of Doc Ock. So if they just made it so that he just has like a superior outfit from Doctor Doom, then that would work pretty well. Sure, he would already have the robotic arms thing because they gave it to him in the other outfit, but sure. I mean, either way, it still works. They could probably just make him have like more violent weapons, like the claws and stuff like that. Because I know he has that in the superior outfit. And then give him the spiderlings, like the henchmen, which could be Doom bots, so that could work. Like, yeah, that if they did that, that would be great. I know it's not going to happen that way, but it could definitely work if they did it. Doombot clone, yeah, I could see that. The one with the arm, with the legs and all that. Yeah, I think that one was was it destroyed? It probably was during the Thanos fight or whatever. Pretty sure it was broken or whatever by then. I think it's been a while. I'll have to rewatch some of the movies or glance at them just to remember. It's like, was this destroyed? It's like, I'm pretty sure it was. But yeah, you could easily just give him the superior outfit if he ended up working for Doctor Doom for a short amount of time. Like, it would work way too well. And like, for the Spiderlings, just give him a bunch of Doom bots that work for Spider-Man. That'd be cool. But again, depends on what they're doing, where the story goes, blah blah blah. The only person who could remember Pete is the Hulk? Maybe? I don't know how they're gonna make that work, especially since they made it that Banner can control the Hulk now. So unless they make him regress back into normal Hulk, or introduce Grey Hulk, or whatever it is they gotta do, then maybe, but I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna tackle that. But yeah, because currently nobody knows who Spider-Man is, so how they're going to go about that will be interesting. And then we got to remember that the Venom suit still exists in the MCU, because a piece of Venom fell off during that scene, the bar scene. So Venom is technically still usable, and we still don't have White Spider Venom, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, I mean, the Hulk isn't bad. It just sucks that they can't do more with him because of their deal with which is it, Paramount? Or no, it's Universal. They can't do anything major with him because of Universal. There's a chance that Doctor Strange might remember. I could see him remembering. But the way he was acting when he was doing the spell makes it seem like he's not going to remember. Either that, or he could have been acting that way just to be 100% sure that that was what Peter wanted. But I could see him remembering. I don't know how he would do it. Like, maybe he stored his memories elsewhere, so that way he could get them back if necessary. But if we're sticking with nobody's gonna know who he is, then yeah, it would take something. It would probably take Doctor Strange to try to bring back the memory somehow. But we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Doomsday. Shit. Especially since they're bringing back the X-Men, I'm like, fuck yeah. Shit, that shot of Cyclops. My only complaint is that he's not wearing the yellow underwear. But I'm like, you know what? If that's the only bad thing about them bringing back Cyclops, then I'm 100% fine with that. Because everything else about him looks great. I mean, it was only like a few seconds, but fuck it. That was a really good few seconds. Yeah, I hope they do more with the X-Men and Deadpool. Because it has been too long. And they went through a lot of bullshit just to get the characters back. I still feel that it might be more beneficial for them to make animated movies of Marvel characters after a certain point. Because the biggest problem you're going to have is that actors are going to age out, or something might happen and an actor passes away or something. Or some of them might retire. So I feel that you should just make it animated, have just voice actors. You can even have returning voice actors for certain characters, like that's completely fine. But I feel animated would be much better. Preferably 2D animation, but just so it sticks to that comic book feel. But I'm sure you could do the same thing with 3D, since Miles Morales Spider-Man worked out so well. So it's definitely doable. But yeah, you just gotta do it right at that point. You just gotta make it enjoyable, you know, make it still feel like a comic book movie. Yeah. Like, I think after a certain point, they should go that route just so it's easier to continue making these stories and stuff like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like live action, but I'm still a 2D whore or a cartoon whore forever, so. Or comic horror, whatever falls into this category. So yeah, that's how I feel on that end, but I'm still going to enjoy the live action as long as possible. Oh yeah, the actor for Cyclops, hell yeah. I'm glad that they're bringing him back. For love everything, please, no more evil Jean Grey Dark Phoenix. I'm fine with Dark Phoenix, they just didn't do it right. That's the problem. The problem is they didn't do it right. And they've done it twice. And still didn't do it right in both cases. That's the problem. See, if the MCU, or if Marvel, Disney, whatever you want, whoever, had gotten hold of X-Men sooner, they could have put them in the MCU. They could have gone through this whole. They could have made a few X-Men movies, gone through this whole arc of, you know, the X-Men being X-Men, and slowly build up the Dark Phoenix coming, and then do the route that happens in the either in the comics or in the 90s cartoon. Go by that, and then there you go. You have a very well put together Dark Phoenix arc. And you can make that last, I don't know, 1 to 3 movies if necessary. I think 1 is fine, but you could stretch it out to 3 if you do it right. Like with the Hellfire Gang, and then the galactic fight to, you know, decide whether or not Jean Grey should be in prison, blah blah blah. You could go through all of that and it would still work well if you build it up correctly. Like again, the cartoons already proved that this works. Just do that again. It doesn't have to be 1-to-1 the same, but you have the blueprint. It's like, there it is. It's already been proven that it works. Just do that again, but your way, and you're fine. It's not hard. The comics and cartoons have proven that it works. Stop rushing the movies. And that was like the biggest problem in the early days. A lot of movies just kind of rushed it. But because the MCU kind of figured it out to a degree and took their time, that's why a lot of the movies worked. But then they tried to like do Endgame and Infinity War again. They tried to do that twice, a little too quickly. That's why the recent years haven't been so good, is because it's like, all right, you guys are rushing it. You guys aren't understanding what worked for some reason. And then now they're slowly getting back into like, okay, we figured it out again. And it's mostly because the Deadpool movies are making it work well again. But yeah, it's like, guys, it's literally right in front of you. Stop fucking up. Because DC already tried rushing in, and we already saw how that worked out. Not to mention issues with certain actors, but yeah, like we already saw the example of what not to do with DC. Yeah, like Dark Phoenix happens in the X-Men cartoon, and they did a great job with it. They built her up, like we built up Jean Grey normally, and then we got the situation where we get a prophecy, or not even a prophecy, but just like a vision of what's to come, and we see like the teaser for the Phoenix. Then we get the Phoenix arc. Then we get the Dark Phoenix. And then Dark Phoenix kind of does her own thing for a while because, trying to figure herself out because that's like a whole ordeal. Then comes back and then they got like, well, during her time, she did a bunch of shit. So she's on trial. Okay, we're going to prove her innocence or at least fight for her freedom. And then there you go. Like, they did a whole thing in the X-Men cartoon and it was great. And they didn't just focus on Phoenix. They focused on other stories too in the meantime. And then there you go. Like, it was awesome. And that's just the cartoons. The cartoons had to, shorten what happens from the comics on. The comics is like a fucking, years long situation. But the cartoons did a pretty good condensed version of that. So just do that with the movies, since now they're treating the movies more like TV, where there's more than one episode to fill in the gaps and stuff like that. And then there you go. But again, this is why I say that they should start making more animated movies, because doing it live action has its drawbacks of, again, the actors. The actors are the biggest flaw because they can't look the same forever. They're going to age out, or some might pass away, or what was the other thing I was thinking because of this problem? It's going to take like a few years, or however. I mean, they've done a pretty decent job of getting it done in like 6 months or so. But, each year the actor is going to look different or going to change and stuff like that. So, again, if they do like an animated universe or something, like they can even do animated movies, that's perfectly fine too. But if they stay consistent with their animation stuff and just have it all as a linked universe the same way they're doing with the MCU, they can make that be just as successful as the MCU movies. Just focus and stay on track. It's not hard. I don't know why people up top are making this difficult. I don't know. It feels like, to all comic book fans and gamers and stuff like that, fans of whatever franchise seem to understand how to make it stay successful. But the people up top, like obviously the people that have the money and don't, make the content / products or whatever, it's always like, man, all you guys had to do was get somebody in charge who knows what the fuck they're doing, and everything you were making would be successful at it. Who wants them to rush or focus on something that's trending or whatever weird focus or diversion of funds and stuff like that to make something that nobody asked for, and then it ends up failing, and then they end up canceling it because it didn't do well. And when they're like, oh, we don't know why it didn't work and all that, it's like, well, all the fans know why it didn't work, because you did something stupid that they all told you not to do. And then here we are. Like, it's happened in so many different companies. It's just like, damn, all you need is like one rich guy who's a nerd who knows what the fuck they're doing, and there you go. And that's pretty much Gabe Newell, if we're talking about that, because that's from the guy who made Steam and all that. That's basically him. It's like, man, just give the people what they want and you'll be successful. Wow, that is such a strange concept. It's like, goddamn. Live action, most of the movie is CG animated anyway. I know, right? It's like, at this point, it's like, what, 80% CG? But yeah, all you need is just like a wealthy nerd who wants to make comic book movies, who knows exactly what to do and not do when it comes to franchises and stuff like that, or representation of series, and then there you go, you're fine. I still feel that making it animated is the better route because it'll preserve what you want a lot better rather than having a actor that will pass away or looks different when they get older or whatever the case may be with live action. But that's just my thoughts on it. If I somehow become stupidly wealthy, that'll probably be something I do. I'll be like, all right, what franchise can I buy the IP for, and we'll try to like resurrect it and make it not suck. That'd be a big head scratcher of like, all right, what do we have available? And like I said, if I had fucking access to Sega, I'd be like, hey Sega, make a Sonic anime that doesn't suck. All you gotta do is just make it aimed at the games and just have it fill in information that the games never did. You can even tie it into the IDW comics since those are tied to the games. Like, fuck it, just do it. Or at minimum, just have characters from the comics show up in the games. And whatever character you have access to, use them. They don't have to show up all the time, but acknowledge the fact that they exist. Oh yeah, the Sonic X series. Funny enough, it took forever for Season 3 of Sonic X to show up in Japan because it was made for the US, for the West. Because Sonic is more popular in the West than he is in Japan. At this point, he's basically an unofficial American character because of how deep he is in American culture or Western culture. Because for whatever reason, Japan, it just does not gel with Sonic as much compared to everybody else. I feel that's like a good and bad thing. Good because they still make Sonic for the West and all that, but bad because they're like making him a little bit too Western focused. Because like I kind of miss his whole playful vibe that he has in like Sonic CD and the Genesis games and all that. Like there's like a certain style and flow that classic Sonic has that is still represented during the Sonic Adventure era. Like it's still there, but it like slowly gets phased out but then phased back in randomly. It's like a really weird situation when it comes to modern Sonic, because it's like he still has like those remnants of the 90s style, but then it like comes and goes whenever they're trying to make him, I guess, more serious is when it happens, where you see it kind of fade away rather than keeping it there as well as him being serious. Like I would say like Sonic OVA movie with Metal Sonic is like the closest we have to it being both in the 90s era type of goofiness style, playfulness vibe, but also be serious at the same time. Like that's like the peak of it. Maybe Sonic Adventure to a degree, but I think Sonic OVA has captured it the most. Sonic is too skinny to be an American? Well, according to the games, classic Sonic is considered fat, or at least chubby. So if that's not American, I don't know what is. Plus, he runs a lot, so that would excuse him burning off the calories and all that. So it makes sense, but according to the games, like classic Sonic is considered chubby. So he's up there. And it's not just like, oh, that's my headcanon. It's like, nah, they tease him about it in the game. Whenever you rescue one of the characters from the Generation game, they tease Sonic about, or classic Sonic about his shape and weight. Say, hey, you look rounder than usual, or did you put on weight? Or say, huh, you look kind of different. Well, look kind of different is just because he looks more cartoony, but yeah, they do make a mention of his belly, and I just kind of laugh. I was like, damn, classic Sonic taking shots. Yeah, some stuff of that got changed. Not everything, but some of it did get changed in the Shadow Generations version. Which, personally, they should not have done. Like, you could still have those jokes and change the ideology later down the line, like with the whole Sonic not pushing Amy's face thing. It's like, no, you could have kept that there to show that that's what Amy used to do, and now she's different ever since Sonic Frontiers. That makes sense, because she grew as a person. She had character development. Changing it just makes it feel like she didn't learn anything. Oh, they've been doing that from the start with Tangle and Whisper. Like, according to the writers, they are unofficially a couple. They just won't say it because Sega won't let them. So they're basically a couple. It's just unofficial. Because Sega is still iffy about relationships due to the Archie days. Mostly Ken Benders, but one day Sega will loosen the leash again. Because it was because of that, that's why Shadow had not gotten a lot of content over the years until recently. Or like in the recent years, because they were like hyper protective of Shadow for some reason. That's why he barely got to do anything. I like Tangle, she's cool too. Yeah, they took away the Amy smacking Knuckles thing too for some reason. I don't know why they did that. All it seemed like it was just cartoony. Like, it didn't really seem like it meant anything. At least not to normal people. But yeah, like, I think they should just leave the characters alone and let them develop naturally, rather than retconning things they have already done. And censoring them, looking at Rouge. Stop censoring the characters. She's an adult. She's designed the way she's designed. Get over it. We've had plenty of sexy Sonic characters throughout the years. It makes no sense to change her. And honestly, she's not even the worst one if we're really being nitpicky about who's more sexual in terms of a Sonic character. Technically, that would go to Sally, since she started off naked for a good chunk of time. Or, just had the vest and boots for a good chunk of time. Then, of course, we have Breezy, who was originally Jessica Rabbit shaped, and then changed her up in the Archie comics. Then, of course, there's Bunny. Bunny was like the rogue of the series for like several decades. Yeah, her voice isn't as bad in Crossroads, but it's definitely better than what it is in Dream Team. Dream Team was just like, why? Dream Team is like, kill it with fire. Even though it's the same voice actress, it's just weird. It's like whoever gave her that direction did a horrible job. And then, of course, there's the writing every once in a while with certain characters saying things that they shouldn't be saying. But yeah, in terms of her outfit, like, guys, she has big boobs. We all know it. She was thick as fuck in Sonic Adventure 2. We all acknowledge this. Leave her the hell alone. She is perfectly fine the way she is. If you want to give her different outfits, that's perfectly fine, but just keep her proportions. Busty women exist. It's not a crime. It's not even a bad thing in general. We're fine. Oh, and Dream Team, she sounds like a Valley Girl. And then that mod of Surge, that's exactly how she should sound if she ever shows up in the games. Like, that is 100% what I thought that she would sound like, and everybody else seemed to agree and made her sound like that. I was like, yes. 1000% yes. Voice-wise, yeah, I would say so too. Like, I still think Sonic Adventure 2 Rouge is the peak version, but the current version from, like, if I'm going off of Crossroads, I think she's fine if we're going off of that that current tone and all that. I would say she's fine. Same thing for Sonic. Sonic's fine. He sounds... It's like they made him serious and still cocky at the same time. Like, he still has that playfulness to his voice that he had in previous versions. And it's like not too serious, but balanced. That's the best way to put it. He sounds balanced. So I think they did a good job on him now. Frontiers was a really good step to push him into that situation. Because other ones kind of sounded like he was a little too animated, if that makes any sense. Like, he's a little too cartoony in certain games and stories. But Frontiers and Crossroads, he seems like perfectly balanced now. Alright, I'm going to call it for now. I'm going to keep working on this, and hopefully I can have it done to post on Patreon and all that later today. If not, I'll still work on it tonight and finish it. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming. I will post the lemon line picture soon as well. But yeah, I hope everybody has a good day, and I will see you guys later, alright? Let me check the chat real quick. Something is Rouge has that. Yeah, the sass from X was fine too, but I still think SA2 was the best one. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so yeah, you guys take care. Have a good day, and I will see you guys later. All right, take care. Bye bye.